Welcome back to the Pursuit of Accuracy. I'm Josh, and in today's video, I just want to have a honest, brutally honest video with newer shooters. Now, if you're a seasoned pro shooter, go ahead and go back to some of my other gear reviews, because today is not going to be about the newest rifle. It's not going to be about some trick ammo. This is an open and honest conversation that I wish someone had with me when I was a newer shooter. So if you're getting into the sport, if you're new to precision rimfire, not even that new, if you're still building skills, I just want to have a very open and honest communication with you guys. I want to talk about some of the things that I see commonly, things that I think are going to help you, to help narrow down your focus, build skills, build the best rifle setup that you can, and get out there and have the most amount of fun, the most enjoyment you can for your dollar. So the first topic I want to talk about is building a gun versus building skills. They are two very different things. I see a lot of brand new shooters, guys that will get a fairly stock rifle and then they will get into the rabbit hole, and there's nothing wrong with modifying stock rifles to make them perform better. God knows this channel has grown immensely because that's what we do. We tinker, we like to maximize, but as a new shooter, I think you may be selling yourself short by immediately jumping into that rabbit hole, spending all the money on all the things for the rifle system. And make no doubt about it, a heavier, more balanced, more accurate rifle is going to help you improve your scores, but it is not going to shortcut your shooting skills. If you want to build shooting skills and you're new into this, I think you should hang on to that factory rifle. As long as it's functional and it shoots okay, having that lightweight rifle with that factory trigger, that rifle that's not going to balance that great, that's pretty light, those are going to help you build skills. Because what a lot of guys don't talk about is the rifle setup can equate to a heck of a lot of shooting performance. Now, if I take a newer shooter and I strap them into a 20-pound rifle like this, whether it's on a bench or on a really good bag setup, this rifle weighs a lot. The trigger weight is very, very minimal, and that's a combination that a lot of guys go to, and we go to this for a reason, and that's because the heavier this object is and the lighter that trigger pull weight is, it means we induce less movement into the rifle as a system. So conversely, if you take a lightweight rifle with a mediocre trigger pull, because the rifle's light, if we're pulling our trigger not perfectly straight back, or if we're behind the rifle, and even things like our pulse can show up in the reticle. You're going to see your reticle and wobble zone move around on a light rifle. Well, it's a bad thing if you're trying to be at the top of the sport, but if you're newer, you're not going to be at the top of the sport. You are not going to buy this rifle setup and immediately beat guys with years of skill and experience. And that's why I think you should stick with this a little bit longer. This is going to force you to make very, very good trigger pulls. This is going to force you to be very consistent on the rifle. This is going to teach you, whether or not you're focusing on it or not, how to kind of detach your body movement from the rifle. So if this rifle is resting on a bag and it's lightweight, we have to be very conscious of how much we are contacting this rifle, because our breathing, our pulse, even our pulse from this buttstock being in here and your face being on the gun, is going to transmit movement in the rifle, and you're going to see that. Well, seeing that's a good thing, because it's an instantaneous progress report to how you are as a shooter. Now again, you get a stupid heavy rifle that's 20 pounds with a 5-ounce trigger, it's going to mask a lot of that, but you need to master those basic skills first, so that when you get on this heavy rifle and then you end up in an awkward position or you end up under stress of time, you don't revert back to making really bad trigger pulls and using really bad positions. So for those reasons, I say stick with this setup a little bit longer. One other thing I want to talk about is for you newer shooters who do have a good heavy rifle setup. And make no mistake, weight is going to be your biggest friend. You're going to hear people talk a lot of things. They're going to tell you a lot of things about how to improve things, improve accuracy. Weight in the rifle system is the cheat code. And it's for those reasons we talked about before. If you make this weigh 20 pounds, the little bits of movement, those couple of pounds of pressures of your cheek, of your pulse, of your hand on the side of the rifle, of that kind of bad trigger pull, they don't impart movement into a really heavy rifle system. They do on a light rifle system. So once you've gone through the roads, you went through your shooting, you've gotten yourself good repeatable positions, good shooting form, you're making good trigger pulls, adding weight to the rifle system is the #1 cheat code, because a lot of times in competition, we aren't shooting at teeny tiny targets. We're shooting at targets from awkward positions, and a lot of times under the stress of time. So just having that heavy rifle will help you a ton. And I hear this a lot from newer shooters who will shoot a group and you'll see a shot kind of drift out. And I'm going to challenge you to go back through my channel and see if you can spot a time where I say, I pulled that one, or if I do my part. Those usually are not shooter fault. So I hear guys say that, oh, I pulled that one, and you'll see a round come out of the group. They'll shoot another one. That round will go back to the same spot that they just felt like they pulled it. A lot of times, especially when you get a rifle, a well set up rifle that has some weight to it, and you're on a bench, it is not going to be you. And you wouldn't think that this would be a problem, that people would blame themselves, but the reality is people spend an astronomical amount of money to get a rifle system to perform how they want to, and when things don't work out, we commonly blame ourselves. We put that blame on ourselves because it's easy to say, oh, I pulled that. But in reality, you should probably be looking at your ammunition setup, something going on with your rifle that's causing those, because I can almost guarantee you, if you have a rifle that's over 15 pounds and you're shooting off a bench, whether it's bipod, bag, whatever, and you're in a stable position and the environments aren't crazy, if shots are not going where you want them, it is likely not you. I don't know anybody with a 15 to 20 pound rifle and a sub 1 pound trigger who's jerking shots off targets from the bench. It's just not going to happen from you guys who have been shooting a little bit. Now, brand new shooters, again, with that lighter rifle setup, yes, your inputs are going to transmit more. This is going to make it harder, and going to this other rifle system, this more expensive, heavier one, it's very compelling. It's very, very, very compelling and very hard not to do that. But you are going to train yourself into some really great habits by running a lightweight rifle with a normal trigger. And once you get some of that foundational stuff built in your shooting, you feel comfortable, you don't feel like the reticle's wobbling all around on you, you feel like you can make shots. Then when you start adding weight to the rifle system, when you start adding those go fast triggers, better optics and those things, you are going to exponentially increase the value of what that can do for your dollars. So I don't want to beat this dead horse, but if I had to give a guide out to someone who's newer into shooting, I would say that your #1 focus needs to be on your skills. I would say it needs to be on putting yourself in weird positions, making shots under the stress of time, shoot with your buddies, shoot at the range, get out and get exposed and get used to that match pressure. The second thing I would really take a hard look at is testing your rifle in all conditions. You've heard the term, fear the man with one rifle. That's a real thing. If you have one rifle and you shoot it in all sorts of conditions and you really thoroughly test ammunition, you are going to know this rifle system in and out. You need to know when it performs, when it likes to be clean, what it does when it's cold, what it does when it's hot, what it does when it's super humid. If you have a cold bore, how to try and eliminate that. You need to know this rifle system in and out, and knowing something that isn't quite as snazzy as some big old custom build will actually benefit you a lot more. And I know that's bold to say, but I can promise you, as a YouTuber who's been in the precision rimfire game for like 4 or 5 years with a wall full of rimfires, I can tell you when I had 1, maybe 2 rifles, I was a much better shooter. I couldn't tell you what any of the conditions of the rifles are behind me, how dirty they are, when they like to be cleaned. I try and keep up on maintenance. I try and do things to make tests valid. But as far as being a competitor, as far as going out and needing to know my rifle in and out, I can't do that with 10 rifles on the wall. It's just not practical. If you're at home, you got one trusty rifle system, you know how it works, you are going to be a very dangerous combination when it comes down to match day. And again, I don't want to dazzle you guys with BS. I am not a world level shooter. I am a YouTuber. I like to go out and shoot competitions. I feel like I am a pretty decent shooter and I am competitive, but I don't invest the time to be out there winning titles, winning these matches. It's just not what I'm going to do. So take what I say just as my experience as not being a national level title holding shooter. I am a guy who's exposed to a ton of the pros in the industry, some of the best gunsmiths, even down to some of the best OEMs. and I get to experience a lot of things through a lot of other guys. And I'm simply trying to convey some things that I wish somebody would have sat down with me when I first started this 4 or 5 years ago and really just had that open and honest conversation, because my shooting has improved drastically across the years. But certainly knowing what I know now, I would have done things a little bit differently as far as being a competitor. So even if you're trying to just shoot from the bench, I know a lot of this may really only relate to PRS and NRL style shooting. But even for you guys who are doing bench shooting at home or just trying to get the best shooting combination, if your skills are there, add weight. Weight is the big thing. Heavy rifle, light trigger, that rifle will be dead. Your wobble zone is going to go away, especially on the bench. It is going to be dead still. And I get guys commenting on videos all the time through my scope cam, and they're saying, man, how do you get that stable? That's how I get that stable. A good rear bag, a good bipod, a heavy rifle system, it literally almost shoots itself. And I'm not even kidding. That's just me being honest. Me shooting off a bench at 50 yards has nothing to do with me. I'm not doing anything spectacular that anybody watching this video can't. I just have a really, really dialed in rifle system. I know what works. I know what bipods are going to work, what rear bag works, and the weight of the rifle system I need to make it absolutely dead. And if you're new here, go back and watch some of the videos, and you'll see in those scope cam videos just how stable a good rifle system can be. So I hope this helped. Another video coming at you shortly where we're going to be testing some rifles. And I also have, for you guys who are into the factory stuff, we're bringing it back. I got a Tikka T1X. It does have a jarred trigger in it, but it's factory. Other than that, we are getting back into factory gun testing. So I think we're going to do the Tikka. Then I think we're going to jump down in price point. We're going to maybe hit a Savage. Take your guys' feedback. I'm going to be polling you guys on those videos, asking about what factory rifles you want to see. Keep in mind, I'm not a millionaire. I can't buy $1,800 factory rifles just to do 2 or 3 videos with and then go buy another one. So let's keep it reasonable, but I think there's a lot of you guys out there who want to look at budget or affordable rifles and see what they can do in their factory form, and we'll see where it goes from there. As always, guys, I appreciate you watching. Catch you on the next one.